The year is 2014, and the continent of North America is looking a little overcrowded, if you ask me. And that's why today, as the great United States of America under this guy, and not this guy for political avoidance or whatever, we are going to be invading our neighbor to the north. Those damn Canadians have been hogging their sweet maple syrup and their free healthcare from us for far too long. First things first, we're going to begin bringing all of our ships and subs in our fleet in the Pacific Ocean up the west coast. The best part about this plan is that they'll never expect us. If they ask, we'll just say we're performing a few exercises, keeping the element of surprise firmly within our grasp. Although I don't know how long we're going to keep that, as I'm sure they'll notice all of our troops, artillery, and tanks rolling up to their borders. We'll need to act very swiftly to take the Great Wide North. Just in case there's any retribution from the south, we decided that we would also form a defensive line of troops and tanks and anything and everything that we have with the border of Mexico. Speaking of which, I think that we finally have just what we need in position to start this little party. Look out, Canada, here we come. Their Prime Minister called me an uncivilized brute. Oh, brother, you don't know the half of it. Goodbye, Thunder Bay. Well, that's one way to start a war, I suppose. Now that they know that we really mean business, the true fun can begin. Sure, there's gonna be plenty of bloodshed, but we'll get more land, probably plenty more oil, I'm sure, maple syrup as previously discussed, and, well, not the free healthcare, of course. They came back with some okay retaliation, I suppose, although I'm pretty sure we could handle it with ease. Even if we lose our weapons of war, we still have billions of dollars to throw at it. Perhaps the worst part of this war was the political pressure that we were beginning to face from the rest of the world, who were none too interested in getting invaded next. But a certain someone didn't really seem to mind. As a matter of fact, he was quite chummy with us. Couldn't imagine why he wouldn't mind us invading another sovereign nation. By this point, the Canadians were mounting something of an offense against us, but unfortunately for them, it was far too late. As the war raged on, we realized that Ottawa was going to be quite difficult to take, and thus we began building fortifications around it to make this fight a little bit easier for us. Meanwhile, Vladdy Daddy would continue flirting with us a little bit, while we would also begin a major assault against the city of Winnipeg. Countless hours of battle and gallons of blood spilled later, and we would finally end up taking it. Welcome to the US of A, Winnipeg. Time for us to start making our way even further north, I'd say. By this point, Ottawa was completely surrounded, and before too awful long, its capture would be nigh. But first would be the bombardment and the inevitable capture of Vancouver. Ah yes, yet another great American city. This entire time as well, Anchorage and Dawson have been locked in something of a stalemate as the war drags on, but eventually we'll capture it, I'm sure. Speaking of capturing new American cities, I'm afraid that it is Ottawa's time to join us. As badly as they may not want to, this beautiful city is just too beautiful not to take, I'm afraid. Ah yes, yet another feather in the cap of the old Union, the old Stars and Stripes. Taking Ottawa from them has forced them to move their capital city to Halifax. Not to worry, Halifax, will be after you shortly. First, we had yet another trade deal with our gentleman caller, and then we could focus on Halifax. The issue that we're facing here is that there's not a lot of land around it, meaning that we're going to need to use naval units to bombard it. But thanks to the power of the almighty dollar, that wouldn't be an issue in any sense of the word. With a couple of new taxpayer warships, taking Halifax would be as easy as pie. A great big howdy and welcome to the US of A. Within the same time frame, after a very heavy bombardment and sacking of the city, Calgary would be the next under our belt. I would be sure to send out personally signed apology letters to all the civilians for, all the missiles and bullets and, We also got a little bit sick of the city of Dawson playing coy with us and refusing to join and keeping us in a bit of a stalemate, so we sent up a couple of warships to take care of their little red wagon for them. Come on in, the water is fine. Next on our list was the grand city of well, quite frankly, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name of this city, but I'm sure all the new US citizens will be able to, I must say, after many, many months of warfare, Canada is looking a little worse for wear. Or should I say New America? Not to worry, we'll help them rebuild. By this point, our top-notch scientist had also came up with a new machine of war, an atomic death robot. Though I am afraid that even though these robots are super cool and badass, we won't even get to see them in action. At least, not against Canada, that is. After hearing of our new war machines, though, and after seeing the devastation of what is left of his country, the Prime Minister has come to us to ask for peace. Oh, old boy, I'm afraid it's far too late for that. After a bit of turning this little island here into Swiss cheese with our warships, I'm afraid that the city of St. John's was the next to join us. Ah, the American Empire, vast and expansive, as it were. Last but not least would be the noble city of Churchill. Though they put up a okay fight, I guess, they too would end up falling to our might. As much as I wish for their sake it wasn't true, I'm afraid manifest destiny was on our side. As per usual, of course. Last but not least would be the city in the farthest north corner of the map, Iqaluit. But, the only problem is it doesn't have any farmland or resources or really anything. So, Hey, what do you know? Canada has been completely defeated and we are, well, the new Canada. Or should I say the new Canada is the new America? We beat them. We took all their land. We now have a vast landmass to look over for ourselves, except for the tiny little parts that we nuked, but don't worry about those. But, as we look over our vast new America, our American empire, if you will, I can't help but think to myself, surely there is more than this. Surely there is more than going to war with Canada and taking all their land, and by that I mean going to war with other nations and taking all of their land and becoming even larger, even more powerful than we currently are, if that's even possible. But that begs the question, who's going to be next to join the American Empire? I'll catch you later, friendos. See ya.